Welcome into another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today I have my 5 takeaway series covering 5 Dynasty topics. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's go. So, the first one, Ashton Jeanty is an immediate top tier Dynasty running back. Now, of course, this is kind of obvious, right? But he's not a rookie buy, sell, or sleeper really because he goes 101 in every single rookie draft. So he doesn't fit any of those categories. But since he's literally the most impactful Dynasty rookie in this class, I figure he probably should be talked about at some point on the channel. So, in 14 games, 374 carries, 2,601 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 yards a carry, and 23 catches, 138 yards, and a touchdown. Obviously, this is insane. 185.8 rushing yards a game, ridiculous statistics. And Jeanty also had over 1,900 total yards in 2023. We don't need to rehash his entire college career. We all know that he's elite. That's not really in question. So he went 6th overall to the Raiders, who have no other relevant running backs. Raheem Mostert and Sincere McCormick are fighting for the RB2 handcuff role, but they're going to get nothing more than scraps behind Jeanty, who was the first pick of this new Pete Carroll regime. I do think we saw what Pete Carroll wanted to do in Seattle. He drafted Kenneth Walker. Then he drafted Zach Charbonnet. Basically, he wanted to commit to running the ball. Now, Ashton Jeanty is like having both of those guys in one player who's twice as good as either one. So that's exactly what Pete Carroll wanted. And now he has it. So what do we do based on this? For me, I'd consider moving the 101. Now, why do I say it this way instead of moving Ashton Jeanty? So he goes 101 in all rookie drafts. Not a debate. Shouldn't be a debate. But if we look at 2025 versus 2024, let's say, or even other years, he's nowhere near as high in my overall dynasty ranks as Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Jaden Daniels were coming out last year. Last year, there were 3 players who were more valuable to start their careers than Ashton Jeanty is now. I mean, I still have Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels ahead of him. Marvin Harrison Jr. I have a little bit behind. So with that being said, if you can get a quarterback like Justin Herbert in Superflex or wide receiver like Brian Thomas, Puka Nacua for the 101, I would take those players. I would rather have them over Ashton Jeanty. But that doesn't mean I don't like him. Obviously, I have him as the 101 clearly. So I do obviously really like Ashton Jeanty. Now, another player I kind of haven't talked about, TreVeyon Henderson. And to me, he's there. He's there in rookie drafts. It's not really a big sell. I'm fine drafting him. I don't dislike him. That's why I haven't talked about these guys as sells, because I really don't dislike them. You know, RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, those guys are way overrated, way overvalued. I like TreVeyon Henderson. I have TreVeyon Henderson as a Dynasty RB1. So I don't totally dislike him. But, you know, is he my favorite player ever? No. He played 4 years at Ohio State. His best year was back in 2021, actually. 13 games, 183 carries, 1,248 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6.8 yards a carry, 27 catches, 312 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This was his most yards per game, rushing yards per game by a lot. Best receiving output per game. He was good for the rest of his career, but not like this. So the thing is, we saw this in 2021. A lot of people said TreVeyon Henderson is going to be a first-round pick, going to be an elite running back, and he never really improved. It never got better. That's the thing. It was kind of a mix, a little messy, and I think that his 2024 season is most representative of what we're going to get. The 2024 season, in 16 games, 144 carries, 1,016 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7.1 yards a carry, and 27 catches, 284 yards and a touchdown. Now, if we look at that, that's 144 carries in 16 games. That's not even 10 carries a game. But he was insanely efficient. 7.1 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns on 144 carries, plus solid receiving work. Judkins took the hard yards. Henderson was a lead on his lower touches. So what does this kind of look like? Looks a little bit like Devon Achane. Looks a little bit like some people would say Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't see that. But I think maybe a light version of that could be what you're getting. Kind of similar usage to maybe like 2023 Jahmyr Gibbs, just not quite as good. Now, where does that leave us? I would say manage your expectations for TreVeyon Henderson. Why do I say that? Don't get frustrated if and when, because this is a when, I'm telling you, Henderson doesn't become a workhorse. He was never a workhorse in college. He was drafted in the second round. So most second rounders end up being starters, but most workhorses are still, are often taken in the first round. And he averaged less than 10 carries a game in 2024, like I said. Ramondre Stevenson is going to remain involved. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. I don't want Ramondre Stevenson at all. This is not the Lions. Ramondre Stevenson is not David Montgomery. I'm just saying that Ramondre Stevenson is going to play some snaps. Get over it. That's going to happen. Just I'm telling you that now. Don't be frustrated when it's 40%. If people get annoyed by that, Henderson might become a buy because he is good. But he's never going to be a workhorse. Never, ever, 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 never was. Never was in 4 years in college. And I don't think he can be. So now I'm not buying now during rookie fever, but he actually might be a buy later on. You'll see me circle back on that when we get to the season. Now, my third takeaway has nothing to do with rookies. Brock Purdy finally got his contract extension. I literally feel like we've been talking about this forever. Since his rookie year, I feel like we've been talking about this. Well, when is Purdy going to get the extension? He was finally eligible after 2024. You got to play 3 years in the NFL to have an extension. Okay. We've been talking about it forever. It was 5 years, $265 million with $181 million in guarantees. It runs through 2030, so 5 additional years. So when you roll in the 2025 insanely low salary, it's actually not that insane of a contract extension. They get to keep that 2025 low salary on the books. We don't know the exact structure. My guess is it's a hard 3-year commitment. Pretty much through 2027, they can't get out of this without gutting their entire team. The outs probably begin in 2028. It's probably some sort of decent out. And then 2029 and 2030 are probably pure fiction team option years. So it's like a 3.5-year commitment, if I had to guess. The contract also includes a no trade clause. So they can't trade him. They would have to release him. Again, most likely that means he's the quarterback through 2028 with 2027 as the absolute guarantee. He'll be the 49ers quarterback for sure for 3 more years, unless there's an injury. Now, why did I not lead with this? Because there's nothing really to do. Usually I'd lead with this type of story on a 5 takeaways video, but I chose not to because there's not really a strong actionable dynasty move here. I've been begging people to buy Purdy all offseason. I've done at least 3 segments on that on the YouTube channel. I've done it on the Patreon because to me, this contract extension was a foregone conclusion. Honestly, it's about the amount I expected as well. Now you'll see him have the value I've been saying he should have had all along. So you can enjoy the previously bought Purdy shares at, at a discount. Usually I would say sell, but I've looked at what you can get. It's still not enough. So I can't really say sell. But anyway, I hope you listened to my previous advice to buy Brock Purdy. Maybe now he'll move closer to the value where I had him, which was way above consensus previous to this time. But congratulations to Brock Purdy on this extension. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using the code TylerYT. Now, I got some feedback talking about, you should say how easy it is to sign up. It's very easy. You go to the link, patreon.com/fantasyadvice in the top right corner. You click it. It'll offer you the list of tiers. You click on one. You type in the code TylerYT at checkout. It will give you the 50% discount very easily. So it is really easy. You can also do it on the app on mobile platforms. The Patreon mobile platforms are not my favorite. I do think the easiest way is to use a computer, click on the link on the web app, the website, and that'll make it the easiest. It will work on a phone. But, I don't have as much experience. I don't use the Patreon app myself. I do all of the Patreon business myself on the computer. So regardless, it is easy. It's not hard. So people are confused by this or afraid of it. I promise you it's not hard. So regardless, that is how you get the discount. Now, you can get my Dynasty and rookie rankings, all my rookie content, access to Discord, all my write-ups, direct message fantasy advice, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. Again, I think some of this stuff is self-explanatory. Obviously, we know what in advance questions for the YouTube videos are. We see them on here. Dynasty and rookie rankings, we know what those are. Those are Dynasty and rookie rankings. The other stuff, the Discord is where I do all of my interactions with the patrons. Direct message fantasy advice is one-on-one interactions. And write-ups is just some additional content that I do. Tiers begin at just $5 a month, $250 with the discount, and you get various different things at different tiers. It's all laid out on the Patreon. It's very easy. I try to make it very easy. If you want to know more about the Patreon, check out my Why You Should Join the Patreon videos on the channel. They're under Patreon promos on the homepage. And like I said, I will be continuing to do the YouTube content. It will continue. If you're looking for me to engage with you, that will occur on the Patreon. If you sign up for the Patreon, you can tell me, I hate your YouTube video. I think you're wrong. I'll engage with you. If you do that in the YouTube comments, I'll be honest with you, I probably won't engage with you. I probably won't. People who take that type of attitude don't usually become patrons. So you're not encouraging me to engage with you. If you engage with me in a negative way, the odds are that you're probably not going to be a customer. If you're already a customer, you can engage with me in a negative way. I'll engage with you. So, that's how I decide as well who I engage with more in the YouTube comments. The more positive the comment, the more likely it is to get engaged with. Because I find that people who leave more positive comments are more likely to sign up for the Patreon, which is why the YouTube channel exists at all. Just, again, I say this on every video, but it's the truth. It's the reality is that the YouTube channel exists as a teaser or an advertisement for the Patreon. That is why I do YouTube content. So, I am focusing on what will bring in more patrons. So I'm hoping that's you. I'm hoping you're watching and hearing me say all of this and encourages you to sign up. If you notice, the Patreon promos are getting longer and longer. I have found that the longer the Patreon promo is, the more people sign up. So, if lots of people sign up, maybe I'll shorten the Patreon promo. But until then, I'm going to keep doing it this way. With that said, I'll move into my next player. So next up, I want to talk about Kyle Williams, who I think has a chance to earn targets in year one. He might have been a sleeper, but then Sleeper updated the rookie ADP, so he probably wouldn't make a sleeper list now. And he wasn't really a sleeper pre-draft because he was routinely mocked in round 3 or so. In 2024, in 13 games, 70 catches, 1,198 yards, 14 touchdowns, 92.2 yards a game. He was great in 2024 at Washington State, but he'd been relevant for years previously. He'd kind of been bubbling under the radar, just not really breaking out, but actually contributing for the previous 4 years. He was a good college wide receiver, but truly broke out in year 5. Now, usually we don't like these types of year 5 breakouts, but it's different if you break out from nothing versus breaking out from good to great, which is what he did. Now, he was drafted 69th overall by the Patriots in the 3rd round. He's going to compete with Stephon Diggs and Demario Douglas to be their wide receiver 1. But I will say, Kyle Williams played outside more than in the slot in college. The Patriots have a big need at outside wide receiver because Demario Douglas is slot only. Stephon Diggs even played a lot in the slot last year. They don't have really an outside wide receiver. So he's someone that they could use in that role. Now, I'd be happy to draft Williams at a value. I'm fine drafting him if he slips in rookie drafts. I did one where he did slip. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. I'm not desperate for him. Like, if I don't get him, I don't get him. These types of 3rd round wide receivers, I'm never going out of my way, but I'm fine drafting him. He's someone that if he's a value and I have the pick, I'm fine making that selection. And as usual, we like values, not players most of the time. So if he's at a value, I'm happy to draft him, but he doesn't always come at a value in rookie drafts. Kyle Williams. Now, my final takeaway hear a lot of narrative about this. Focus on players who are currently injured, not injury-prone narratives. Certain Dynasty shows, which I would not suggest that you watch, one of them recently claimed that you don't want to have Josh Downs on your roster because he's small, so he's always going to get hurt. There's no evidence to support that. I've also heard the claim that you don't want Puka Nacua because he's always hurt for some reason. People used to say T. Higgins was always hurt. Now we don't hear that because he was a player who missed games this year. No one remembers that he missed games, but he was a league winner. So, well, now he's fine. And now I don't care. People have no idea what they're talking about with injuries. No idea. They're not qualified to talk about that. We don't need to hear from their opinions about who's going to be always hurt, who's not going to be always hurt. They don't know anything. I was told that Lamar Jackson was not going to make it through his career. They were wrong about that. These people, they're totally unqualified. Most of the Dynasty analysts you hear, they struggle to come up with a cogent take because, the two brain cells are rubbing against each other, arguing. It's very difficult. So we have a lot of people saying a lot of things that they know nothing about. Now, with that said, what we do know is players who are currently injured often come back not as good as they were before. How do we know that? Well, there are many examples. TJ Hawkinson, serious injury. He was fine. Didn't look quite the same as before. Javonte Williams, serious injury. Really got back to where he was before, right? So it's very common that an injury is delayed. Jonathan Brooks took forever, came back, looked bad, and then got hurt again. Now, we couldn't have predicted he would get hurt again, but he didn't look good before he got hurt. So, and it took another 10 weeks that it was supposed to. It was training camp, then it was week 1, and then it was who knows when. So focus on players who are currently injured. Now, there is some debate, legitimate debate, about who's currently injured and who's currently not injured. Is Christian McCaffrey currently injured? I don't know. We don't know if he's still injured, if he's healthy with a bilateral Achilles. That is a legitimate debate. However, I can tell you there are at least 2 players where it is not a debate. Brandon Ayuk and Chris Godwin are currently injured. If there was a game tomorrow, they would not play in it. That is not a debate. There's no doubt about that. I'm very nervous about these 2. They are currently injured. We have no clue when they're going to be ready. We have no clue what shape they're in. None. 0. We don't know. They are currently hurt. They're not cleared to play. Godwin's recovery seems to have been delayed. It seems like there's delays, there's problems there. I don't like that. Ayuk was terrible before his injury. A lot of people don't remember that. And is nowhere near returning. We're not talking about, this player might get hurt because of this. We don't have to talk about that. These players are hurt. They are hurt now. We're lucky. And I learned this from Jonathan Brooks last year. He was like, he's going to return. That was not a good assumption of me to make. He was currently hurt badly. I should have factored that into my thought process more. I'm learning from that mistake. These are older players. They are currently hurt. I would fade them. When they don't play week 1, or if they don't play week 1, or if they come out of week 1 and they look bad, the value is going to drop significantly. I'm certainly not buying these players. But again, the takeaway is we don't want to talk about who's injury prone. Frank Gore used to be injury prone. Keenan Allen was injury prone, and then they weren't. We don't care about that. What we do care about is when someone is currently injured. That I do care about, especially with a serious injury like these 2. So focus on that instead of injury prone, garbage narratives, and other things. Got a bunch of Patreon questions, and then we'll close out the show. So, is there any player you're low on but could see a realistic universe where they exceed your expectations and prove you wrong? Yeah, I mean, it tends to be the older guys. The older guys, if they can bring out another elite season, it's Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill types. Those tend to be the ones where I'm the most feeling like I could be very, very wrong. Do you have any predictions for this group of unextended 2022 running backs? So that's your Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, James Cook, Kenneth Walker is also in that group. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure we're going to see another contract extension. Kyron Williams, I think, is the most likely, followed by Kenneth Walker. Breece Hall and James Cook, I don't think they're getting them. So in terms of that, pretty much it's all based on value. But I don't think we're going to see as many early contract extensions for running backs unless they're very team friendly in the future. Or the running back is absolutely elite, and none of those guys are. What are your thoughts on Noah Gray? Worth holding when Kelsey retires, or just Kelsey returning for 25 kills future? I just think we saw Noah Gray have an opportunity to kind of have some relevance, and it just kind of was just okay. I think Noah Gray is fine. Noah Gray, if Travis Kelce left, can Noah Gray be like what Brenton Strange delivered down the stretch? Sure. Is that super value for your dynasty team? No. So I think I've just kind of lost interest in Noah Gray. I think we've seen enough to see that he's just a replaceable NFL talent at best. Who are some vets who could be falling off the cliff that we might not suspect? I always say Joe Mixon for this, but I think people are suspecting that. But he's always on the top of my list because he just is not good. He's never been good, but he keeps getting the volume. But one day that volume could be taken away, and when it's over, it's over. Like over, like just finished immediately, because it's not like he's adding value. He's not even good. So Joe Mixon is definitely number one on this list. For me, I do worry about Terry McLaurin. Just if the touchdowns go the other way, the targets have not been there. So it's kind of like if the touchdowns go against him, he could lose a lot of value, even if he's, actually gets more targets if the touchdowns are kind of against him. And he's actually about to turn 30. So if he's not elite, his value is going to completely fall apart. Who are some roster cloggers that people think are valuable assets and should be punting off the team ASAP? Yeah, guys like Isaiah Pacheco, I'm not interested in. DeAndre Swift. These are just players that I'm totally fading. The team gave up on these players. They didn't want these players. Yeah, they technically might be the lead back right now, but I don't care. I don't want these guys. When it comes to wide receivers, like Xavier Legette, I think I've seen enough. I've seen enough of Xavier Legette. He's a roster clogger. I just don't want him. That's maybe a good example. Hollywood Brown, I think, is a roster clogger. But it's hard. I mean, most people don't think roster cloggers are valuable. I think Michael Pittman might be a roster clogger that people are thinking could still be valuable. That might be one. That's actually an interesting name. He still carries some name value. Why are you not as bullish on DJ Moore when he appears to be contract insulated and has been a consistent target hog and producer? With DJ Moore, it's really just that the downside risk is more than the upside. He's 28. So for him to burn me in Dynasty at what he costs, DJ Moore has to be a wide receiver 1. Do I think that DJ Moore can be a wide receiver 1? I'm going to say, no, I don't. I don't think so. I don't really see that as very possible without injuries. I just feel that they drafted Luther Burden. They drafted Colston Loveland. They have Romo Dunze as well. I don't see DJ Moore being a wide receiver 1. I just don't see it. The targets went down, and efficiency went down last year. I think I'll pass. I'll pass on DJ Moore because of how good he has to be to burn me at his current cost. I just think it's very unlikely. I think it's much more likely that DJ Moore is a disaster and loses almost all of his value than burns me the other way. So DJ Moore is one of the hardest avoids for me of any player. I will not be acquiring any new shares of DJ Moore anywhere near his cost. Last one's an easy question. For an aging old but contending team, would you try to get younger while tearing down and losing picks in the process? No, I don't see why I would do that. I don't want to get younger at the cost of picks. If I'm aging and old, I either want to stay old and go for competing or sell my old players for picks. This idea sounds like the worst of all worlds. So no, I will not be doing that. Now, if you like the video, make sure to support the channel by subscribing, and don't forget to hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty content year-round. 50% discount at all tiers using the code TylerYT. Click on the link in the top right corner. Every sign-up helps support my independent content. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.